Hi YouTubers, welcome back to Mama's Orchids. I'm going to do a short video on this hybrid, Brassavola hybrid that I acquired about almost a year ago. It will be a year this spring. And it is an interesting hybrid, Brassavola hybrid. Let me show you the name. It is, and I have shown this orchid before during one of my, videos that have what's in bloom, I believe last month in January or earlier this month, I'm sorry. And it is a cross between Dialaelia Snowflake and Brassavola Little Star. Now we know a lot about Little Star, Brassavola Little Star, but I think we don't know much about Snowflake. So I did a little digging to find out what is the composition of Snowflake. So Snowflake itself is also a hybrid, just like Nodosa, just like the Brassavola Little Star is. So it's a hybrid between two hybrids. I'm gonna take you to the computer and talk a little bit about the lineage of the Dialaelia Snowflake, which we know very little about, but we know a lot about Little Star already. So, all right, to the computer. All right, here is the two parent that make up Dialaelia Snowflake. The first one is the Laelia Albida or Albida. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I apologize if I'm doing this incorrectly. This Laelia is a species, and it is it's from western Mexico. It does require winter dormancy, and during the dormancy time, it needs a cool night's drop in temperature, and it requires bright light. And it is a winter bloomer. And the other one, the other orchid that it's hybridized with, it's called a Diacrum bicornutum. And the name has changed. It's no longer Diacrum. It's changed to a Caularthron. And I couldn't find out whether this particular orchid, the Diacrum and bicornutum, is a species or not, but I noticed that there are many varieties of that. And I did find out that it is from Central to South America area, and it also blooms in the winter in nature, but in the greenhouse it may be forced to bloom other times, of course. It does require a very bright light, and the bloom spike, when it blooms, it's a tall spike that has 10 to 15 blooms, can have 10 to 15 blooms on it. Okay, now I'm going to show you a picture that I found on the internet that is of the snowflake, just snowflake itself, okay? So that gives you an idea of where some of the features of the blooms come from. And you notice there's a yellow throat, and that is what, and that is where the yellow throat from this orchid is from, okay? And also has spotting, so the spotting is from probably the Laelia as well. All right, let's go back to the computer again. All right, so now the petals, though. Let me talk about the petal. The petals on the on Snowflake, just Snowflake itself, it's a wider, broader petal, versus the Brassavola hybrid, it's more narrow. Okay, So the hybrid that I have is let me put up two of these names again. So the hybrid I have is here's a picture. This is Snowflakes itself. Now now it's a hybrid between Snowflake and Little Star that we are comparing. Whoops. Just notice I left a L in there. Okay. Brassavola Little Star crossed with Snowflake. So that's what we have right now featured in a video. Now the Snowflake itself has that broader, as I said, that broader, what do you call, petal, and it has a little bit of a pink touch to it on the edges of the petal. And it has a yellow center, which is what's contributing to this, the feature of this, of the bloom. Now, what Little Star is contributing in this orchid is, and you know what, it might be easier for us to talk about it with the orchid. But first of all, Brassavola Little Star is a hybrid between nodosa and cordata. Both require strong light. Okay, so let's go back to the actual orchid itself. And this orchid, so we talked about the pink tip. There's a little bit pink tip to this, and you can see it on more on the bud. There's the bud. You can see the little pink tip at the end of the tip. And then when it opens, you can see the pink tip at the back of the petal. Let me see if I can rotate it around so you can see it better. There, hopefully. Yep, there we go. So you see how there's a little pink tip to that? That is from the snowflake. That feature is from the snowflake. And so is the yellow throat. Now, much of the pink in the center has, let's see. Much of the pink is not there anymore, I believe. Let's see. Let's see if we can open that throat up a little more to see. Yeah, there's not much of a pink throat in there anymore. On a new bloom, let's see, this is a younger, this particular bloom has been open a while, I think a week now. I can't remember exactly, but this one maybe less than that, and but the throat doesn't have any more pink in it. But so the pink is just on the tip versus on snowflake, pure snowflake itself. The hybrid, it does have a pink center, or we call it a little bit of a pink center. Now, so what is also what contributes to this orchid? I'm sorry. What's Brassavola Little Star is contributing to this particular orchid more is more of its structure than in the flower. So in the flower itself, it's the petal being more strappy and narrow is the little star part that's showing up. But the leaves, so the leaves are strappy, but it's also more stiff. So it's more stiff like the nodosa Little Star. And I believe the snowflake itself is not as stiff. It tends to droop more, and it's not as turgid or thick. When I see it on the internet, it doesn't show, snowflake as thick. And so it's the Little Star that is contributing that feature more into this hybrid. Also, I noticed I think the most pronounced difference, or the most pronounced feature of this orchid that is that the what do you call the snowflake contributed to this orchid is the change in the stem, the bloom spike stem. So the bloom spike tends to be more droopy instead of erect, and is not as strong as Snowflake itself. Snowflake, it will have a very erect and tall and long bloom spike that bears 10 to 15 flowers, versus this one is 3, maybe possibly when it's in its top form, maybe 5 flowers, 4 or 5 flowers, but not quite as prolific and blooming as Snowflake itself. So you know, I did bring Snowflake, and let me show you what the difference in the leaves in Snowflake. Not Snowflake, I'm sorry. I do have, not Snowflake itself, I have the Little Star. So I'm going to scoot this over and bring Little Star up. This is Little Star, and it is, again, a hybrid between Brassavola nodosa and Brassavola cordata. And see how the leaves are much stiffer. It's not drooping over. Even when it's sitting down, I'll stand it up, but it still doesn't droop over. It's very turgid. It's very thick compared to the hybrid Snowflake. And so I believe that the Little Star, the features that Little Star bring to this hybrid is the structure of the leaves and the structure of the bloom spike, and then the Snowflake will bring more of features for the flower part. So, and I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm making any sense. I did not practice, did not write any of these things before I did this video. I'm just winging it. So, and I'm a beginner, and I'm just doing the research online and found this information, so hopefully it's useful. But comment if you think that there's something to add, or let me know if there's something incorrect. And as far as the scent. Now, I did not notice a scent on this particular hybrid that I have. It doesn't seem to, and even in the sunlight, I didn't seem to smell anything, or even at night, nothing pronounced. And you know that on Little Star, Brassavola Little Star itself has a very strong fragrance, and it's very pronounced at night. So I'm not sure if this hybridization has has dropped the scent out. But I'm going to try to grow it a little more healthy and see if I can detect the scent. But I haven't read anything about any scent on this particular hybrid. So, but this is a very big, or it can be, I believe, a big orchid. It's already gotten pretty big, and I've only had it for less than a year now. You can see the leaves are pretty long. I would say this is about maybe 18 inches long, this particular leaf. And I'm going to put it next to, you know what, I'm going to put the Little Star right behind there and see if we can compare. There. Okay, and there's the Little Star next to it. It's pretty big. I would say this leaf right here, it's comparable to 16 inch. compared to this one, maybe 16 or 18, yeah. But it's broader leaf, so I would say that the little star can tolerate more light than this hybrid. However, they both want a lot of light. This particular hybrid wants a lot of light. In fact, I don't believe it will bloom unless you give it enough light. And I'm going to do another video on growing it, not having enough light, it won't bloom. So I'm going to do a comparison also how it grows when you don't have enough light or when you grow it indoor and out versus outdoor. So, but anyway, this particular one will get very strappy and big and unruly versus this one is pretty much stiff and can be and bunched together and grouped together in its branches. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching and bearing with me in my awkward choices of words here. But I hope I got the point across. And it's mostly I wanted to give you an idea of how to research online. It's really easy. Finding the parentage of an orchid and finding out what it requires to bloom or to grow it in its natural form. Okay. All right. Well, have a good day. Thank you for watching.